Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, Indiana men's and women's basketball look to start their seasons with a slam dunk.
And men's soccer kicks off their campaign for a Big Ten tournament title. This is Hoosier Sports.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Anthony McClain.
And I'm Gabe Fenster.
Gabe, did you go to the game Monday?
I did go to the game. I actually watched from the roof.
Very nice, very nice. Regular season men's college hoops are finally here, and Mike Woodson's highly anticipated squad opened the season at home against Morehead State. Our Evan Kamiko has more.
After a bumpy first half, the Indiana men's basketball team found its footing and got a season-opening victory 88-53 against Morehead State.
This was the first game for these guys. I don't know if they were jittery or not, but I thought we came out with a great start, but you got to give Morehead State some credit. I thought the second half we turned it up from a defensive standpoint and did what we had to do to secure the win.
Well, Trace Jackson-Davis was back to his dominant self tonight, scoring 15 points. It was actually Indiana's bench that ignited Assembly Hall, going on a 14-0 run when the game was tied at 21 early in the first half.
I feel like, and we feel like we have 10 starters, 11 starters, 12 starters. So when that second group comes in, there should be no drop-off. Malik's been playing great. JG's been playing great. And then Fino's running that second team.
The starters who start the game, it's important for us to come in with energy. And, when energy is applied, it's always going to show on the court. You know what I mean? Like, we want a little run. We got some stops, got some easy points. That's what you need when you come off the bench to have that, that pop to keep you in.
The Hoosiers defense gave up only 24 points in the second half, but going 12 of 21 from the free throw line still concerns Coach Woodson.
I say defensively we did a solid job. I thought our switching, we got burned a couple times, but for the most part, I thought our switching was on par. So I just don't like the fact that we're missing free throws. That's really bothering me as a coach.
Indiana improves to 1-0 and faces Bethune-Cookman on Thursday. From Assembly Hall, Evan Kamiko, IUSTV Sports.
The Hoosiers are back in action tonight against Bethune-Cookman. Tip-off is scheduled for 8:30 on Big Ten Network. Follow along with Evan, Josh Bodie, and Hank Joseph for updates from Simon Scott, Assembly Hall.
On Tuesday night, the Indiana women's basketball team kicked off their season in Assembly Hall against Vermont. Our Brianna Baylog has the recap.
The Indiana women's basketball team defeated Vermont 86-49 in their season home opener.
We had 12 threes tonight. It probably last year would have taken us maybe 3 or 4 games to get 12 threes. So, it's a really good start for us in terms of shooting the ball.
A young player that stood out for the Hoosiers was Yarden Garzone. She led the team with 19 points and scored the most points in a freshman debut since 2013.
The first day she stepped on campus in August, we kind of really quickly realized how good she was, how great of a passer was, how effective she is from three-point, and how just great all-around player she is. She's not a typical freshman.
With 3 of their starting 5 gone, new faces needed to step up, and they did just that.
I think that what's going to be special about this team is that it's different than any team we've had so far. So you can't really compare it to our last year's team because it's a lot different than this year's team. We have a lot of different pieces, but I don't think difference is necessarily a bad thing. I think it's exciting.
It was a new home court for Oregon transfer Sydney Parrish. She led the game in steals and has adjusted well on and off the court.
She's always been a scrapper. She's always been a tough kid. Don't let the eyelashes and the makeup and the long nails fool you. She's a baller. She loves the game. She's a competitor. She wants to win. She's been great in terms of leadership, her voice in practice. She's been a great piece. That has come to join us, and we're glad that Sid's home.
Next up, the Hoosiers face UMass Lowell at home. Tip-off at 7 p.m. on Friday. From Assembly Hall, Brianna Baylog, IUSTV Sports.
The Hoosiers will host UMass Lowell tomorrow at 7 o'clock p.m. before their tougher non-conference schedule begins. Make sure to follow along with our reporters, Brianna Baylog, Audrey Hausberger, and Alex Hines throughout this women's basketball season.
On Sunday, the Indiana volleyball team took a trip to Madison, Wisconsin as they took on the number 3 ranked Wisconsin Badgers. Despite a late match rally, the Hoosiers were not able to pull off the upset, and the Badgers took the match 3-1. IU fought hard in the fourth set, taking a commanding lead, but the Badgers chipped away, going on a 13-4 run to take the fourth set. Cameron Hayworth had herself a match as she put up 48 assists, 8 digs, and 6 aces. The Hoosiers head back home to Bloomington as the number 16th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions come into town this Friday. IU hopes to tie the season series after getting swept in University Park in September.
It's Big Ten tournament time, and Indiana men's soccer had its first round game against Penn State last Friday. A trip to the semifinals on the line. Our Amanda Foster has more from Jerry Eagley Field.
Indiana's Big Ten championship hopes are still alive after a 1-0 win over Penn State Friday night in the quarterfinals. The key to the win? Solid performances on both ends of the pitch.
We did limit them really to second chances, I would call it. That's a good team. So I give our guys that credit. I thought defensively we were very good. I thought some of our best play was really our attack that led to us not defending much.
And when Indiana's defense was called upon, they delivered. While goalie JT Harms didn't have to make any big saves, that doesn't mean he didn't have big contributions.
It's huge. Relieves a lot of pressure for us when he can come out, punch some balls for us, or even catch some. But yeah, he was big time for us tonight, and it was good to see him. We have confidence in him. He should have confidence in himself for the rest of the way.
A first half goal from Ryan Wittenbrink proved to be the difference maker for the Hoosiers.
I mean, I thought we created a lot of chances in the first half. Kind of were unlucky not to have a goal up till that point, I thought. So just trying to encourage everyone to make sure that we try to take advantage of the opportunities that we were getting.
That goal marks Wittenbrink's 8th of the season, and his presence on the field continues to be instrumental in Indiana's success.
First half, like he's been all year, was just a problem for them. It was a really nice finish. Obviously, keeping it low in that traffic is important, and Witt's been fantastic all year for us. Nice to see him get another goal.
Indiana will next face number 1 seed Maryland on Wednesday at College Park.
Yeah, we needed this win for so many levels, just to kind of get solidified in the tournament a little bit. And obviously the first game of the Big Ten tournament, and it's November now, so hopefully we can just build on this.
Amanda Foster, IUS TV Sports.
On Wednesday, the Hoosiers faced off against Maryland in a revenge match for a spot in the Big Ten tournament finals. Despite their best efforts, Indiana fell to the regular season champs. The Hoosiers will now await their seeding in the NCAA tournament next week.
Coming up after the break, we crown this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week.
And we have the latest on football's consistent struggles in conference play. Stick around for more Hoosier Sports Night after the break. Welcome back to Hoosier Sports Night.
Joining us in the studio for this week's Hoosier Highlight is IUS TV sports reporter Griffin Healy. Griffin?
Thanks, Anthony. This week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week is none other than Indiana women's basketball player Yarden Garzon. The 4-star freshman guard from Ra'anana, Israel, has built up quite the resume during her playing career before becoming a Hoosier. She averaged just under 15 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 2 steals per game for Maccabi Aroni Ramat Gan, where she shot 45% from the field, 43% from the three-point, and 94% at the free throw line. She also had extensive experience on the Israeli national teams. Garzon committed to Indiana back in December of 2021, and in the first game of the regular season and her collegiate debut against the University of Vermont, she notched 19 points in the 86-49 victory. Garzone's 19 points are the most points scored in a freshman debut since guard Loren Brooks scored 19 against Oakland on November 9th, 2013. Garzone also had 4 rebounds and 4 assists and shot 58.3% from the field and 62.5% from the three. There's a lot to be excited about Garzone for the rest of the season. That's all for this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week. Back to you.
Currently on a 5-game losing streak, the Indiana football team had the number 14 Penn State Nittany Lions in town last weekend. Iowa's TV reporter Blake Spillers has more from the tough matchup.
It was a close game early on in windy Bloomington, but the Hoosiers struggled to get anything going offensively, falling to Penn State 45-14.
Well, I mean, I think, bottom line is no matter how much time you have or don't have, you got to execute, and I feel like, it's really difficult up front, not being able to give our backs a chance to get seams to run through and the quarterback's time to throw, So that to me is really the bottom line. I think we have to really focus on getting ourselves, continue to work to get better there because it's not good enough. And it's killing us right now. It's making it very, very difficult for our offense. I don't care who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter who the running back is.
Jack Tuttle got his first action of the season getting the start on Saturday. He looked solid early on, making plays with his feet and through the air. But after taking a big hit in the second quarter, he was unable to return for the rest of the game. And after the injury, the Hoosiers' offense did not look the same.
I just said we needed to get in a rhythm. We just didn't do it. And first drive we had a rhythm. We moved down the field, and then Jack getting hurt didn't help either. But, yeah.
IU was outgained 483 to 196 today. The Hoosiers just could not get the run game going, only averaging 1.9 yards per carry. And with 3 turnovers, it just wasn't the Hoosiers' day.
It's just about, us trying to, those negative plays, the tackles for loss, the penetration you have to have up front. It starts with our defensive line, just trying to manufacture as best we can. I know that that's something that we focus on a lot, and something we've always been really good at. It's been trademarked for what we do here. And so trying to create negative plays, whether it's sacks, tackles for loss, and those lead to takeaways too. So I think it all kind of goes together and fits together. So still continue to try to, find answers for that. It is something that we spend a lot of time working on and take a lot of pride in. And yeah, you're right. It wasn't like what it needed to be a year ago. And obviously this year we haven't done a good job of getting it fixed, So, and that has to be, a big part of who we are.
IU has another tough test next week when they travel to take on Ohio State. From Bloomington, Blake Spillers, IUSTV Sports.
Indiana quarterback Connor Bazelak is set to return this upcoming weekend after missing last week's game against Penn State with an injury. But the Hoosiers have another tough test ahead of them as they travel to take on the number 2 Ohio State.
Indiana Wrestling defeated SIUE 26-15 last Friday in their first match of the season. The Hoosiers started off strong, sweeping the first half of the match. However, the Hoosiers' control slipped away in the second half, with SIUE taking victories in 4 of the 5 weight classes. The only Hoosiers win of the half would come from number 18 ranked redshirt junior DJ Washington in the 174-pound weight class, matched by making his opponent fall in 33 seconds. Indiana then went to the Maryville Kaufman Open in St. Louis, Missouri. Throughout the tournament, Indiana had 9 individual championships with 4 first-place finishes. The Hoosiers will host number 24th ranked Princeton at Wilkinson Hall for the first home match of the season on November 18th.
The Indiana men's tennis team wrapped up their final fall season tournament in Ann Arbor, Michigan. During the Big Ten tournament, the Hoosiers showed why they should not be slept on in the Big Ten. In doubles, Michael Andre and Ilya Terepolsky took home the doubles trophy, winning 8-7. In singles, Patrick Fletchall defeated Wisconsin's Robin Paris in the round of 32. In the round of 16, Terepolsky defeated Nick Meister of Illinois 6-4 and 6-4. With the completion of the tennis team's fall season, the Hoosiers look forward to the spring season starting on January 15th.
The Hoosier cross-country teams were at it again here in Bloomington for the 2022 Hoosier Invitational. The men's team started the day with 3 top 10 finishers in the 8K, Andrew Anderson, Cole Raymond, and finishing 5th overall, Travis Hickner, with a time of 26:46. The Hoosier women's side continued the day with runners finishing in all 3 of the top spots in the 6K. Ali Latta finished third. Michaela Ramirez finished second, and finishing first overall was Tori Schmidt with the time of 22:40. The Hoosiers are back in action this Friday in Terre Haute to face off in the Great Lakes Regional.
IU swimmer Brendan Burns participated in the 2022 FINA World Cup in Indianapolis this past weekend. The defending Big Ten Swimmer of the Year got 4th in the 200-meter backstroke and 8th in the 200-meter butterfly. Also, former IU swimmer and Olympic gold medalist Lily King won first place overall in the 200-meter breaststroke and touched second in the 100 breaststroke. The Hoosiers start their Big Ten season next weekend as they travel to Columbus for the Ohio State Invitational.
Joining us now in studio with the Candy Stripe Calendar Report is IUS TV sports reporter Josie Broyles. Josie?
Thanks, Anthony. Welcome to this week's Candy Stripe Calendar. The Hoosiers are transitioning into the winter sports season, and we have a packed weekend. Starting off this Friday, the cross-country team is competing in the Great Lakes Regional starting at 10 a.m. at the Laverne Gibson Championship cross-country course. Women's volleyball plays here in Bloomington at Wilkinson Hall against Penn State at 6 p.m. To round out Friday, the Indiana women's basketball team faces off against UMass Lowell at Assembly Hall. Tip-off is set for 7 p.m. The Hoosiers football team is looking forward to an exciting game day on Saturday as they travel to the Shoe to battle the number 2 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes at noon. Finally, closing out the weekend, the women's volleyball team plays again, facing off against number 9 Minnesota at 3 p.m. in Minneapolis. How many wins will the Hoosiers get this weekend? To find out, follow along with our IUS TV Sports Beat reporters for the best coverage of Indiana athletics. That's it for this week's Candy Stripe Calendar. Back to you at the desk.
And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUS TV Sports. For our production crew behind us, I'm Gabe Fenster.
And I'm Anthony McClain. We'll see you next week.